My gosh, bro. Look, if you in the US, I don't think we're gonna see Drake until at least 2026, y'all. Like, let's just break it down right now. He's at Wireless right now for the next 2 days. He starts his Some Sexy Songs for You tour with PND on July 20th, first show. The last show is September 23rd in Germany, right? So that's already 3 months. So since that tour is ending in September, we know the next tour is gonna have to be for none other than the album Iceman, which I am so ready for. Like, I think this is gonna be Drake's best album of this decade, and I think For All the Dogs is his best album so far in his career. So if Iceman is able to top that, what else can you say? But anyway, in order for that tour to start, the album has to drop. So when is the album dropping? I personally think October. Like, at this point, we all know that Drake pretty much owns October, as can be seen by this line, OVO. Like, Drake owns October. October is Drake. The feeling of October equals Drake's music. I don't know how to explain it. Him and 40 and the team figured it out. They got it. And on top of that, he's already dropped 2 albums in October, More Life and For All the Dogs. So I think this is just very fitting to drop Iceman in October. Also, with October starting the cold months and pretty much winter, is really the perfect time to drop an album for Drake called Iceman. And to take it a step further, in June, Drake actually posted a picture with him and Julia Wolf, who's like an alt-pop rock singer, and he went to her show on her tour to show her some love. And in the comments of that post, Julia actually commented, "October will cure me." So I personally took that as a sign that Drake possibly communicated with her that Iceman will be dropping in or around October, especially because he also DM'd her expressing how much he loves her music and that they could possibly collab. So we may be seeing her make an appearance on the album. Up to this point, the only official single we've gotten from the album is What Did I Miss? And that is one thing it did not do, because it is making its rounds and it's gonna definitely debut highly on the charts. Now on this track, Drake is definitely talking this shit, and he's definitely making sure that the people who wronged him in the last year or so is hearing about it. And one line specifically called that out. During the second half of the song, in the first verse, he says, "I'm back in your city tonight, walking around with my head high." So if we break it down real quick, at this point it's more than clear that Drake is talking about LeBron and how he's a snake, a backstabber, and knows no loyalty, and just jumps around to whatever team gives him the best chance at winning. Kobe's rolling in his grave. Besides that, with LeBron obviously playing for the Lakers, which is in Los Angeles, I took this line to say, "I'm back in LA tonight, walking around with my head high. I saw bro went to pop out with them, but been dick around again since headlines." Because what other city would Drake have to announce he's back in, walking around with his head high, other than the very same city that has both LeBron, the #1 trader, and Kendrick, the #1 hater, as their residents? Combine that with the fact that What Did I Miss is set up as a very triumphant and performance-based song, I can clearly see how this track specifically, where he's responding to LeBron and Kendrick in LA, would go crazy. Alright, y'all, so here's my slightly delusional Drake album and tour timeline. We know we're getting to Some Sexy Songs for You tour from July 20th to September 23rd. Like I said, I think Iceman is going to drop in October, and I think it's going to drop on October 24th because it's 1, a Friday, and 2, it's Drake's birthday. So it'd be the perfect day to get that album off and into the world. After that, we might possibly be getting Some Scary Songs for You in November. Got a deluxe for All the Dogs, and that was Scary Hours 3. I don't see the Scary Hours volume slowing down at any time. And this idea that I think some fan came up with, Some Scary Songs for You, would honestly be perfect. Like I said, this is slightly delusional, but don't forget when Some Sexy Songs for You dropped, Drake also followed that up with these 6 random cryptic pictures and their cryptic captions. But when you take a closer look, it could look like the captions are title names on a project that might be called Some Scary Songs for You. And I definitely think that Drake cares about the numbers of this album. Previous albums, like Honestly Nevermind, More Life, he might not have really cared because he was just getting the art out there. But he's definitely trying to make a statement with this album. I think he's aiming for 500K plus. And we haven't seen that in a while in the industry. So to see that, it's going to make a statement for sure. Following up after that, I think obviously once we get the album, we're going to get a tour. I'm guessing that'll start anytime between January 20th and February 14th. That range comes from how long he took to start the For All the Dogs tour after For All the Dogs dropped in October. So it's kind of around the same time, and then that tour will probably go on for about 2 months, maybe 2.5 months, depending on what he does. Because he might go stadium with this one, y'all. He might go stadium with this one, which kind of leads into my next point. The World Cup starts June 11th and it goes until July 19th. We know that Drake has already met with and done interviews with the president of FIFA regarding the World Cup. So there's definitely some involvement there, because why else would you do an interview with Drake? So it looks like we might be getting a World Cup halftime performance from Drake, seeing as though this is the first halftime show that the World Cup is ever putting on. It's also in Canada, Mexico, and the United States. So it's only right that the person that has dominated the whole North America for the last 15 years in terms of music does the halftime show. And my guy Kev Talks on Instagram made a guess that Drake could possibly be an ambassador for the World Cup, similar to how Snoop Dogg was for the Olympics. Since Drake is such a global artist, it would make sense if you wanted an ambassador for the entire World Cup. Why not pick someone like Drake? He has global reach because of a global audience, and he's extremely relatable. And if you tie in the idea of him coming off a very successful album and tour, the World Cup would be the perfect place to land. It is the most viewed sporting event in the entire world, over the Super Bowl, over the Olympics, over the World Series, everything. It just seems fitting to me. But yeah, like I said, we might see a stadium tour for Iceman, because if he's going to be performing in a stadium for the Olympics as the end spot, he's going to have to start in a stadium, y'all. So we might finally be getting that stadium tour we've been looking for from Drake. Well, I'm not necessarily looking for it. I love him in arenas because you can be right there with him. In the stadium, it's not really set up that way. But we'll see. I don't know, y'all. How delusional am I on a scale of 1 to 10? I think this is very realistic, though. But let me know what y'all think. In the meantime, I'm about to go watch some streams of Wireless, because that's all we got for now, y'all. Hey!